It's just a different kind of video. It's late at night. I should be asleep, but I'm not even thinking about what I'm going to be saying. And I'm just letting it rip, like all these things that are going on in the world, and try to make some sense of it. What's the purpose of all of it? Why do things seem to be going on? And first thing that I was noticing is that all things are interconnected, even thoughts, compared to, the physical objects that we see around us all the time. So it means that if there's a huge collection of thoughts going on, like collectively, then this is going to connect, because all things are connected. It's going to connect with things that we see happening physically. Take, for example, storms. Take, for example, earthquakes. Take, for example, forest fires. Take, for example, temperature changes. So all these kind of things are going to be connected. I guess the main thing that we need to become more aware of, and maybe some of us need to accept it for the first time, is that there's such enormous power in the thoughts that we have, the thoughts that we're thinking, the thoughts that we keep, like the patterns of our thinking, the repetitious thoughts. So there was a teaching in a book a long time ago, just on a very simple fundamental level. It was called The Power of Positive Thinking. So I always touch on that because it's just a basic law of reality, of the way we use our thoughts. There's also another little book, if you want to look it up, it's called As a Man Thinketh. And as wonderfully simple, as a short, like I said, it's a booklet. But there doesn't have to be a lot of quantity of words to actually get a very important teaching, very important knowledge into the reader. Or, in this case, the vlogger gets something into the mind of the viewer. It's late, I'm tired, I just watched a bunch of movies, starting with War of the Worlds. I don't know which channel was broadcasting it today. I never know, with broadcast things. Is everybody getting that in the United States? Chime in here if you knew that War of the Worlds was being broadcast on one of those channels. So I'm just, flipping through a few hundred channels. So I happened to watch that, and it was interesting. It was like this thing, I think it's TiVo or something. I never had it myself, but when I'm a guest with somebody's living room and their TV, I mess around, and I could pause it and rewind. So you probably think, oh, this caveman just crawled out of his cave. And I don't have these things, but, when I'm doing it, it's like, hey, there's this new toy. So I rewinded, and I played frame by frame the scenes that I was in. I happened to find, 4 or possibly more. Not exactly sure. I've got to analyze the footage, but on the big screen I was pretty clear about who I was. They didn't use my close-up scenes, and I didn't have any scenes with Tom Cruise or Dakota Fanning. I opted out of that. A few of my comrades you could say. My associates that I brought to the production were having some close-ups. Actually, the publicity photos they had, some like in the advertising, not literally in the production cut of the movie. So it's interesting there. So anyhow, I had about 4 scenes, little clips in there, and there's a funny story about it because I didn't actually follow the script in War of the Worlds. I did, like, you're supposed to be afraid, and I was acting more like I was composed. I was calm, and but anyhow, it was interesting watching it with some people and freeze framing it, going frame by frame, and seeing that. And I said, yes, definitely your acting style. And I was wearing a classic Russian military wool overcoat with gold, not real gold, but golden color buttons. It was very cold out, by the way. Freezing temperatures in the middle of the night. We were involved with this production. A lot of us. It wasn't just me and a few people. There were quite a few hundred. I think there was a couple hundred people that were involved in the scenes, and then I don't know if it was 100 crew or something, but sub-freezing, also snow and freezing rain coming down. A little bit windy sometimes, but not too bad with that. So there wasn't like a wind chill. But, okay, so I talked enough about that. I digress. I'm sorry. Second movie I watched was, it was a show, National Geographic, The Wild West. It's basically a nature show. Then so it's like Halloween-oriented shows. They had this Monsters in the Wild or something. These guys were like a night shot vision, infrared, and they were like, said that there was some wolf man, some wolf beast, and they were trying to catch it by putting a goat on a chain. They had a trap cage, They didn't catch it, of course. And you see like this, in like, you can't prove it from the footage, but you see something move in front of the camera. So, a sucker is born every day, they say, but it wasn't me. And, you're going to have to do better than that to prove that there's some wolf man in your neck of the woods. So then I went on to, they did a dramatization of the Kennedys. I caught it from the point where Robert Kennedy was talking with Marilyn Monroe. You see this one? I turned it off right away when I saw them with Lee Harvey Oswald in the, that building that they say he was in. And there was other workers, and they were talking to him. And I was like, uh-oh. So they're a little bit behind the times. The funding on the Kennedys must be these, hard-up fucking liars that want to keep perpetuating that myth. What a bunch of bull dinky is. I don't even know if that's a word, but so the Kennedys, don't watch it, don't believe it. That was a really bad move on their part. We know there was a conspiracy, a major conspiracy. There's nobody who's worth talking about believing in the patsy theory. Okay? I mean, believing that the patsy was the guy. I'm sorry. If you know he's a patsy, you know he didn't do it. They set him up. Next, I turned on The Day After Tomorrow, I think it's called, with that Jake, what's this called? Glenn Hall? Anyhow, Jake, you know what I'm talking about. And then the other guy, he looks like the one that played his father. Anyhow, that's I watched little clips of it when it came out. You know, what was it? It came out about 5 years ago or more. I don't know if before War of the Worlds or not. So I watched that and I was like, you know, I am aware that our planet is in an ice age. And we're just in the interglacial period, where it happens to be a little bit warmer. But we are an ice age planet. That's the way they want us to look at it. So the day after tomorrow, I was like, hey, what if these storms come and there's this huge cyclone that's coming from the higher atmosphere and it's pulling down incredibly cold air, you know, like below zero, like close to absolute zero or something. You know, it just freezes everything on contact. You could even freeze fire, maybe. But anyhow, I thought the most interesting thing about the movie was that they said they would evacuate the full southern half of the United States, and the military would start chucking them down into Mexico. And I think that's the key scene in the movie. It reminded me of 2012, but I didn't watch 2012 tonight. Then what did I look at? That was about it. So you see, I was watching a lot of movies, and that's why I'm tired. And then after that, I go on doing research on the internet, and I caught actually an Alex Jones interview with Russell Brand. Very interesting. I believe this one was done before the big interview that was done by the BBC with that guy Paxman. So the Alex Jones interview was very interesting. I mean, Russell Brand is definitely, what I can say about him is that he's right on point. I have very high standards. I'm very, very much into truth. So for me to say that, that's saying something. Okay, he's very quick thinking. He's witty. I can't say too much, except that we have to take everything with a grain of salt. I need to know even more about him and what his motives are. Right at this point, like I said, it's on point. It's very radical, and radical is good these days because we need to transform. He does mention about the paradigm. Alex Jones had a good retort with him. Good discussion was going on there. Very lively. So, what else did I watch? I was looking at a few other things. Now, I had gotten off following Alex Jones for a few months, so I was just checking back in, and he did the Fukushima report a couple days ago. So that's what we end up with. I think that thoughts and positive thinking do influence everything because everything is connected. So we've got the NSA spying on our thoughts. Why should we care? I think it's a good influence. Let them spy on me more. I talked to them anyhow. I said, hey, how you doing, Mom and Dad? And also the surveillance spies that are assigned to me. How you doing? And my parents are like, WTF? Because they're a little bit square. I mean, they keep up with things, but they definitely can't keep up with me and my relentless seeking of truth and expressing it. I'm unhappy that for some reason I'm losing some subscribers in the last 2 to 3 days. I know that I attributed a few of those to the anti-Hillary Clinton video. But then I made a comeback in the past 2 days with really good videos. I did the matriarchy. I did a lot of material, and I was surprised that in the last 24 hours I still lost a few. I'm not hemorrhaging subscribers. But even when I lose a handful, like maybe 4 or 5, possibly 6 when it gets really bad. I don't believe that I lost 6 within 24 hours. But total over this lost period, yes, more than 6. Seems like I lost 8, 9, 10 maybe, while I gained 10, 11, 12 in that period. So I actually came out ahead. But you see, you can lose while you're winning when it comes to subscribers. And that doesn't have to deal with views, it's just subscribers. So I'm unhappy, because I'm trying to reach more people. It's pretty obvious. I keep at this. I've been doing it for 8 years. I'm one of the old timers on here. Starting to get some of the aging going on. Maybe a little bit more wrinkles. Not too bad. Not too bad. Not too worse for the wear. If you compare this to my first couple videos out there, and you look at some of my older material, I think that it's all in thoughts too, because a positive thinking can really help you stay young, can help you stay lively and healthy, and help you to reach everybody. By the way, Lou Reed just passed away, my friend told me. I wasn't a tremendously big fan of Lou Reed, although I know he was a big influence in the alternative music, rock and roll and punk. And so all these figures have their day. And we still have a lot of people around. I mean, I think Bob Dylan's still around, right? David Bowie's still around, not too active. He had some problems. But so the thing with Lou Reed is that my friend said I guess he had a liver transplant earlier this year, and that's a tough one. I mean, it's real difficult. The medical industry, man, they should do more preventative work. Or maybe that's not them. Maybe it's our responsibility as people. Hey, it all comes back to the thoughts. Thanks for listening. I think I showed you how everything is connected, and I'm really here to do what I can to educate people, wake you up, illuminate you, and somehow I hope that our lives are better for having this connection. And unity for Utopia. Amen.